Hello guys. Welcome back to another video. As always, I am so excited to have you guys here. I'm excited to be back from my vacation in Greece. Definitely feeling a little bit of those post-vacation blues, but really excited to get back into routine. I was excited to come home and just get back into my healthy home-cooked meals. It's also been getting pretty chilly here in Toronto, so I'm definitely feeling the fall vibes, feeling some soup season coming on. If you guys missed the Greece video, I would highly recommend checking that out. I showed a lot of the yummy food that I ate, but also talked about my top tips for staying healthy while traveling so that you can really enjoy your vacation. But jumping right into the food this week, I started by boiling some eggs. I always boil my eggs for 8 minutes and then I mash them with salt, pepper, parsley. I call it my lazy girl scramble because it's just so much easier than cooking them in the pan. I toasted up an Ezekiel English muffin. I have been loving these because they're made with a bunch of different whole grains. They're super high in fiber and you're getting a good amount of variety within the whole grains. I mashed up some avocado, added my scramble on top, and then I added a kiwi on the side just for some extra fiber. This breakfast has over 10 grams of fiber, which is so great. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know I'm always talking about the importance of trying to get 30 grams of fiber per day. So a high fiber, high protein start to the day. And then after breakfast, I wanted to get started on some meal prep. I always like to have sweet potatoes baked on hand. They're just really easy to throw into salads or to have with any sort of protein for a quick dinner. So I cut up some purple and Japanese sweet potatoes. I seasoned those with some salt, cinnamon, tiny bit of maple syrup, and some avocado oil. And then I just baked them in the oven. And they were just really easy and great to have on hand for the week. And then for lunch, I kept the meal prep themed going by prepping a bunch of chicken. I just bought a bunch of chicken thighs from the butcher store. I cooked them up in a pan with some avocado oil. I had this Greek salad seasoning blend that I picked up while I was in Greece, so I added that along with some parsley, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. And I just left those cook until they were all cooked through. And then I made a big salad on the side. Guys, I missed my big salad so much while I was away. I had so many Greek salads. I do not think I will be able to have another cucumber and tomato salad until next summer. I just started by chopping up a bunch of lettuce. I had a bunch of carrots in the fridge, so I decided to grate some of those. I added some of the sweet potatoes that I had already prepped, along with some sauerkraut and, of course, some avocado. And one of you guys asked me on Instagram why I don't add other vegetables to my salad. And the truth is that just on a busy day, it's way easier for me to just add a base of spring mix and then a few other things to the salad than chop a bunch of different vegetables. And the spring mix has 6 or 7 different greens in it, so I feel like I'm still getting a good amount of variety, but you could really add whatever veggies you want. And then for a dressing, I just added in some parsley, balsamic vinegar, and then I picked up a few bottles of olive oil while I was in Greece, so I added some of that, and I had the salad with the chicken on the side, and that was my lunch on Monday. For dinner, I decided to make some of my sweet potato bun burgers. I think because the weather is starting to cool down, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm eating all of my favorite summer meals at least a few more times before soup season officially sets in. And I decided to serve this with a little side salad. One of the things about living alone is that if I buy a big box of spring mix, I have to eat that myself. So I tend to just eat leafy greens on the side of a lot of things. Moving on to the burgers, I went to the butcher store and bought some grass-fed ground beef. I took about a third of a pound of that and made it into burgers, and I like smash burgers, so I smashed them down and then topped them off with some goat cheese mozzarella. I warmed up some of the sweet potato that I'd cooked earlier that day and then added my burgers to it, and because I have avocado with basically everything, I added some avocado on the side, and honestly, I am going to miss this meal when we go into the fall weather. It's just so great. You have tons of fiber from from the avocado and the sweet potatoes. You also have some resistant starch within the sweet potatoes, lots of protein in the patties, and then again, a little bit of fiber and lots of micronutrients in the leafy greens.
I don't want your love. Don't come to me now. I don't want your love. Don't come to me now. I don't want your love. Don't come to me now. I don't want your love.
And then for my breakfast on Tuesday, I actually made this on Monday night because I wanted to do some overnight oats. I actually texted my dad for a muesli recipe that he used to make all the time for me and my brother growing up. So this recipe is roughly based off of that, although you guys know I'm not very good at following recipes, but I started by grinding my flax and chia seeds. So I always store my flax and chia seeds in the freezer. It helps to preserve the fatty acids. And then chia seeds, you can eat them whole, but flax seeds, you do have to grind up. So I put those in a little blender because it's really great to grind them fresh. I added them to a bowl with the oats, yogurt, shredded apple. I also added in some blueberries. You can use milk or water. Here, I just used water because it was easier. I also added in some collagen, maple syrup, cinnamon. You guys know, again, I'm not very good at following recipes. I like to just kind of add things as I go, but I will put the original recipe in the description box below. And then I just put that in a jar and let it sit overnight. I think this ended up giving me 3 servings. So a really great option if you are looking for a meal prep, make ahead option for the fall, back to school, all of those kind of things. I just put that in a little Tupperware in the morning with some Greek yogurt, and then I topped it off with some maple syrup and almond butter and took that with me to work.
You're always talking about leaving. Milk carton, black and white face. Smile vacant for the picture. Parents waiting in the driveway. Oh, my darling, Arizona. Why you packing up your suitcase? Hasn't anybody told you? Oh, my mouth on fire, drowning in your holy water. Could be better.
So for lunch, I just made another one of my salads with some chicken in it. In the afternoon, I sipped on some coconut water. I've been really loving coconut water. It's super high in potassium, so something that I've been liking to add to my diet lately. I always just look for the one that's 100% pure coconut water with nothing else added. And then I got started on my dinner, and this was probably one of my favorite meals of the whole week. I started by sauteing up some onions, and then I added some mushrooms. This is just a big mushroom mix, so I think it has cremini, white, and shiitake mushrooms. And then I added in the rest of the ground beef. Whenever I'm making up just ground beef, I always make it with mushrooms and onions. I just like to add a few extra veggies. It really helps to bulk up the meat and make it stretch even more. And then I season that with some garlic powder and paprika. And then I just sauteed everything until it was completely cooked through. And then I set it aside and I toasted up one of these Ezekiel tortillas. I have been loving these lately. They are super high in fiber. There's 5 grams of fiber per tortilla plus 7 grams of protein. Same with the English muffins. They have a good mix of different whole grains, plus they're sprouted. So sprouted grains or fermented grains like you find in sourdough are a little bit easier for us to absorb. So I've been really liking those. I added some goat cheese mozzarella and about half of the ground beef. You probably could have used even less ground beef. I used a lot, and this dinner ended up having over 50 grams of protein, which is much higher than I would normally aim for. Usually I try and get around 30 grams, so I could have definitely cut the beef serving in half. Honestly, it ended up being more of a giant taco than a quesadilla. I also had some avocado on the side and some salsa. And yeah, like I said, this had over 50 grams of protein, over 12 grams of fiber, so will definitely become a staple in my diet. And then I also had some dates and almond butter for dessert. And Wednesdays are my study day, so I wanted something super quick and easy for breakfast. I just used some of the overnight oats that I had made, topped it off with some Greek yogurt, maple syrup, almond butter. I made myself a coffee, and then I got into studying.
Watch the time float on. Cool air blows a memento as I fall behind. I'm so sorry for dreaming about the future. Maybe I'll be better when we're old enough. Hey, I'm sorry for dreaming about the future. You and I'll be better when we're old enough.
For lunch, I wanted another quesadilla, so I just started by cooking down some mushrooms, and then I added that to a pan along with 3 eggs that I had scrambled. I tried to do the trick where you put the tortilla on top. Oh, I also added some goat cheese mozzarella. I tried to do the trick where you put the tortilla on top and then you flip it. It kind of half worked. Some of it got stuck, but I ended up just folding it in half, putting it back on the pan to toast, and then I served that up with some more avocado and salsa, and that was my lunch.
Maybe I'll be better when we're old enough.
This is so delicious, such a quick and easy lunch. I'm just in my quesadilla era. And one of you guys asked me on Instagram about the protein components of the meal. And really with this, the cheese that I use has 8 grams of protein per serving, and then the tortillas have 7, so it really helps to bump up and just add additional protein to the main protein source that you have, whether that be the eggs or the beef. And for dinner, I ended up making spring rolls. You guys have seen me make these spring rolls so many times. I had some peanut sauce that I had already made up on the weekend, and I also had some tofu that I had already made up on the weekend. If you guys are looking for the recipe for the baked tofu or the peanut sauce, those are both in my basics guide. This is the guide that I created for you guys. It covers all of the basics when it comes to your health. So we talk about sleep, stress management, exercise, nutrition. It's got how to build consistently healthy meals. It's also got some recipe ideas for you guys. So I will put the link for that in my description box below. I just had that with the peanut sauce that I had already prepped in my fridge, and that was my dinner. So I ended up having a early morning therapy session on Thursday, and after a good cry at therapy and a long decompression walk, I wanted something just very comforting for breakfast. I was gonna originally make oat pancakes, but the batter, I ended up adding too much water. So we switched and we pivoted and we made crepes instead. And I ended up filling them with Greek yogurt and bananas, topping them off with some cinnamon, maple syrup, and almond butter. This was such a delicious, comforting breakfast, and you still have lots of protein and fiber. I used an egg and Greek yogurt and collagen in the batter, so lots of protein plus the protein with the Greek yogurt, and then tons of fiber between the flax seeds that I used, the oats, the bananas, the almond butter. Lots of protein, lots of fiber, lots of deliciousness, and it was just the perfect post-therapy breakfast. And then on Thursday afternoon, I was going into the office and I wanted just something very easy. So I ended up just taking some of the leftover chicken, some of the leftover sweet potato, and about a quarter of an avocado and just had that as my lunch. I wasn't super hungry after the larger breakfast that I had. And then I always get home from the clinic pretty late on Thursdays, so I always need a quick and easy dinner. Here, I just made up another one of the quesadillas. I used the rest of the leftover ground beef, had that with some salsa and avocado, and it was just the perfect quick dinner. There's nothing else you really can do, and if you could, you wouldn't want to. Oh, I know, I know, I know, So you guys know I'm in the clinic the whole day on Friday. I also like to use Friday to do my best to clear out my fridge. So for breakfast, I took the rest of the overnight oats along with the other half of the banana and some peanut butter. And then for lunch, I just made a big salad with some mixed greens, some of the sweet potato, the rest of the leftover tofu, some sauerkraut, and then I had this almost empty parsley jar. So I used that as my salad dressing jar. I just added in some balsamic vinegar, olive oil, and some salt. And then I also took about a quarter of an avocado to put on my salad, and I just took that with me to the office. And then for dinner, me and my boyfriend and some of his friends went out for sushi for dinner, so that was a nice little treat. And I always say this, it's always so nice to go to sushi with them. It's just really fun, really relaxing at the end of the week. And then you guys know I never really film on the weekends, but I always like to include a few clips. We always make up big veggie scrambles. This week my boyfriend picked up some treats from a local bakery, and then we made this really delicious beef red sauce pasta with fresh pasta that we got from Italy. It was so delicious. But that does bring us to the end of the video. As always, I hope you guys got some value out of the content, some meal ideas, some inspiration. I'm really, really excited to be back from vacation, excited to film more content both here and on Instagram. So definitely let me know in the comments what you guys want to see more of, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!